Hello, hello. If you are seeing this, you're seeing the replay. How are y'all doing? Thank you for watching our video. We go live every Sunday evening at 7 Central Time. It's the same every week. I'm making a commercial for the beginning of the video so they know if they watch it. Hey, Tammy Gear. Hey, Natalie. What is up? So wonderful, busy spring day. I'm just wait for all of our participants to get in here. Oh, goodness. Hello, hello. Hello, Chasing Life, Going Green Mom, Lakota, Sadie, Catherine, the Bruno Homestead. Hello, hello. Hey, the Tinker's Wife. Natalie, you saw my commercial. I never know what to say in those first few seconds when there's nobody on here. So what is up? Lots of projects accomplished. I know you've been busy, Tammy Gear. What is going on, guys? Oh, I'm tired. I've been working today. Oh, first time in the live chat, Melinda. Well, I'm glad that you're here. Yep, it was a hot day today. You know, hot days really just like take it out of you. Like it's just really difficult to work outside very much. I wasn't outside just a whole lot today. I was actually working on writing, but I was working outside on that. Oh, thanks, Homestead Dreaming. I call this the salon's been closed for 2 months. That's this look. Somebody said the other day, they're like, did you get new layers? I'm like, no, this is old layers. This is the bangs. This is what happened. Awkward not banks anymore stage. Oh, thank you guys. I appreciate that. Oh, Lakota, I am writing something that I am actually not able to announce yet, but it's about gardening. So there's that. And it's so weird how easily I'm able to verbally, I do all these videos about things. Most of the time don't have any notes. I mean, it's just all that information. It's just in there. Somehow it comes out in some sort of like order, but trying to write it all down turns out very difficult for me. So, oh, cool. Kim Ross, congratulations on your first garden plot. Watch my great niece's pandemic second birthday party by Facebook Live. Wow, what a weird time we're living in. Brooke, you got your hair cut so your macaw would stop getting stuck in it. I can confidently say that's one problem I've never had. However, do you want to know what's funny? I was telling Maya the other day, I was like, I think that like one day, maybe when my kids are grown and, like we're not quite as busy, I would love a macaw. My best friend growing up had, her brother had a big macaw, and they had this like really fancy cage that was built at the bottom of this like stairway. They had this really big house, and anyway, he would yell up the staircase at everybody because they would always stand down there and yell. It was funny, yell up the staircase at the kids for them to come down. Hey, Lauren, what's up? Yeah, I'll announce all that stuff as soon as I'm able to. I have a video that I put up about a month ago. It's about seed saving, and I discuss a little bit about cross-pollination and that, just kind of simplifying that. So, Sweet Maya is in the kitchen making tea. You know us so well, Tammy. That is exactly what you're hearing in the kitchen. So I have a new little somebody running around the living room right now, and he's going to be in the vlog tomorrow for everybody to meet. But I suppose that you guys could get a little bit of a sneak peek of that. A new little guy in the house. He's being extra cute right now. I wish you could see my dirty nails right now. The feeling of getting your hands dirty. I was noticing, this is probably gross, but I was noticing the other day whenever I got out of the shower that like I've reached that point of the year where like my nails, like my fingers and toes, like they require scrubbing. It's no longer just take a shower and wash off. Like this is the time of year where they're like requires little elbow grease to get clean. I like started to get out of the shower. I was like, oh no, I'm not done yet. I gotta get back in and like work a little harder at that. Well, I'll go grab him in a second.
What, Bruce?
Yeah.
Like
hey, Talking Threads, are you?
I feel like I'm not part of this conversation.
You need to be connected. Yeah, permanent dirt. It's definitely. Hey, come here. Come here. All right.
Go get him. Snag him. Snatch him out.
Come here. Hey. You better quit. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
There we go.
Okay, guys. This is Bruce.
Hey, Bruce.
Look how sweet he is.
Why Bruce again?
That name was lended to me by some friends that live overseas that are viewers of our channel. This is going to be a light issue, so you need to scoot this way because your dark tank top and that black wall.
It's not my dark tank top. It's all my dark tan muscles.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Swoon.
That is not what's happening. So, yeah, this is Bruce. And he's so sweet. He was a little wild. Like, I got Bruce from a friend of mine who, like she lives out in the country, and like a random cat came and had kittens in her doghouse on her property. And I'd seen them. All this is in the vlog tomorrow, so you guys are getting a sneak peek. But I had seen them on Facebook. She was looking for homes for them. And I had said to Jeremiah, hey, we should maybe get one of these kittens. And he was like, okay, yeah, you can get one. And then this is before Kitten George. There we go. Take the glare off this camera. And I'd said, I was like, oh, I don't really want 3 cats. And then we lost George. And so I ended up going back and messaging her a little while after George passed away and saying, hey, can I get one of those little guys? And she had one left. His name is Bruce.
Don't play with the power cord.
And he's learning to be inside because I'm going to keep him inside.
And we're going to get him a friend and keep him inside.
Mm-hmm. Get all the cats. We're not getting all the cats.
We're getting 2.
Well, okay, let's see. Bailey, thank you for that super chat. I'm moving to zone 7B at the end of the summer. If I can get some beds built, I'll try to get in some cool weather veg, but what can I plant in the fall in preparation for next year? Definitely put your garlic in the fall. You can plant, it depends on where 7B you are, but I mean, it stays pretty mild, and with a little bit of cover, I mean, you can grow all kinds of brassicas and stuff over the course of the winter, at least here. Oh, cool. All Things Living. Thank you for the super chat. I'm so glad you're trying okra. So yeah, he's doing really well. He's using litter box, and
I just don't think we're going to have any more outside cats until we change properties.
Yeah, not with the road. We're just not willing to do that anymore. So yeah. Is it safe to put my tomato seedlings out on the sun porch on 55-degree days? Yeah. I would say so. 55 degrees is probably okay. I mean, you want to make sure that you don't leave them out there when it gets cooler than that, but they'll be okay at 55. I wouldn't leave them out much cooler than that. 7B is warm, but not, I mean, the thing is some people, there are parts of 7B that get like way more snow than others, that it's just, it can be very different. Like, it's weird because like there are large parts of Oregon that get like a ton of precipitation, and a lot of like snow and stay colder a lot longer that are also 7B. Zones are determined by the average lows of a region. And so you can be the same zone, but have a pretty different growing schedule. Like, I want to say like there are parts in like Washington where they're 7B, but their last frost date is like weeks after ours. This is just different, but our lows are similar.
It's going to be really hard to take the horses with us because we had to rehome them.
Oh, yeah. We
like
don't have
6 months ago.
Yeah, we don't have our horses anymore.
We will get more horses.
Yeah, we'll get more horses.
And I miss
someday.
small horses.
Yeah.
But we had to make that call.
Where to get a ridge cap for polycarbonate?
Just get any ridge cap. It doesn't matter. It's not going to block enough sun to make any difference. The polycarbonate company does not really make it. They make it, but I can't get it. Maybe you can, but Home Depot wouldn't even order it for me. So honestly, after putting ours together, you could run a metal tin ridge cap, pick out a cool color, and put it on there, and it won't change. It won't mess up your greenhouse at all. It won't affect the sunlight or anything.
We had to rehome our horses because the lease where we had them and we're keeping them. We actually had one lease out here that we had them on for close to a year, and then that lease was pulled and kept them on the pasture next door, which is way too small for 3 horses. It was very difficult to keep them healthy. It was not good for them, and we got another lease and kept them there for about a year. And then that man decided he didn't want to lease the property anymore. So we just had to make the choice of whether we were going to spend several $100s a month boarding them somewhere far away from our house. We live out in the country, and so the closest boarding place we could find was about a 25-minute drive. And just with our time, we just didn't feel like that was best. We weren't going to be able to spend a lot of time with them having to drive that far.
How big of a property are we wanting or looking for?
Can we move? This light is like bothering me really bad.
Where are we going to move to?
Just scoot over this way and we'll see if that helps with not having the window behind us. Stinking luminescent.
I gotta go get a washcloth.
Oh yeah, our kids have been sitting right here. Oh, y'all are gonna get to see the fact that I have not wiped this wall off in like 2 months. Don't judge me. Okay. That's a little bit better. Can you turn this light down just a tiny bit? It's really. Oh well, yeah, that's
just the photographer. You can't help it.
I know.
Move this over here. Turn the light down. Turn the light up. Bring the light back down. Turn it left. Turn it right. Sit down. Stand up. Oh, right. Perfect shot. All right, that's one. Let's go.
Look how much better that is. Look how much better that is.
I didn't notice anything wrong.
Well,
honey.
actually,
listen. I'm a great Instagram husband. I'm well trained, but I don't have a photographer eye like you do.
Do Qatari melon roots go very deep?
I don't think so. They pull up pretty easy.
I mean, they pull up pretty easily. They're not like, they don't have like a taproot or anything like that. Yeah, the kids' pictures. Every time I do this, I have to explain. That's a man jumping off into the water.
He's not a fat man.
He is a fat man.
Oh, is he a fat man? Is that the fat man?
He was a fat man, and that's why there's a big splash. That's what Ezra said. And this is a different man who has a superhero, and he has a sword. So that's what's happening up here. My kale is going to seed. What do I do, Marie? Well, what are your goals? You can wait and save the seeds. You can eat the seed pods. You can eat the flowers. You can still eat the kale, although the texture and the flavor might not be exactly what you're used to. But those are your options. You can't stop it. You could maybe cut it off, but eventually it's just going to go to seed.
Do you cook or freeze it?
Both. I pickle it. I can it pickled, spicy pickled, or frozen. And you can also, if you do fried okra, you can bread it and freeze it. This just pretty much adjusted the light. It's just awful. I'm sorry that it's bothering me.
It's bothering you again?
It really is, but it's okay.
And now we're balancing the warranty paperwork on top of the camera.
Marks. I love pickled okra too. I remember being a little kid.
Hey guys, we're currently taking applications for a lighting crew. If y'all want to come on our live videos and hold up the white screens, and
it is what it is. What are you doing? I think it's actually kind of you.
I know it is. It's because it's like it can't focus on the awesomeness. It's like, what is that object?
If I shut this light off, it's gonna be way too dark. I bought a new laptop finally. So I've been using like a very old laptop for the whole time that I've been doing YouTube. Guys, there's something that you should know about me. Making large purchases, just kind of like, I'd just rather not unless I really have to. And we are also doing Dave Ramsey and paying off our debt. So even though we do a lot of stuff, like we are also like, we drive old cars and, like I used the old laptop for a long time. to save money, to pay off her debt, because it's the whole thing, live like no one else, so you can live like no one else. And I finally went and bought a new laptop. It was definitely time.
It's really hard for us to do the Dave Ramsey, though, because it's live like nobody else so you can live like nobody else. And I'm like, we've already been living like nobody else.
Yeah, we definitely do. But we also want to be out of debt.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Amber Jackson. Yes, gazelle intensity. But yeah, I went and it was kind of one of those things where it was like I had put it off too long. But I went. I did not finance it because we are not all about that. So we're getting there. We're getting it done. So pretty exciting. Out of the woods, new to the channel, Ben Turn. His name is Ben.
Ben Caldwell. His last name is not Turn.
Yeah, his name is not Turn. He came to us last spring, and we met him at the shindig. And he had emailed. I met him at the shindig, and I remembered him because I was very impressed that this young man was buying plants and knew the specific varieties that he wanted from watching our videos. But he had emailed Maya and talked back and forth with Maya. And we get offers of people asking to come out and work on the farm, but we don't usually take those up simply because we don't really have the insurance for it. And as much as we love to meet people, this is also our home and our daily life. It's not like we have the infrastructure to just really stop and oversee people regularly. And we're homeschooling our kids. We're doing our family here. So we just not usually super open to that. But we'd gotten this message, about this guy saying, hey, can I come out and help and maybe learn? And Jeremiah said, well, why don't you come to this plant sale we're doing so we can meet you, yada, yada. He came, and I was like, hey, I remember you. And he came out to the house that day to help. And he's a young guy, a local college student who grew up in this area. He was a homeschooled kid, and he's just really interested in like sustainability and homesteading, and he wanted to learn, and he was just looking somewhere where he could get like the hands-on knowledge. And for a little while he interned, and that's where he got the name Bintern. And he would come out on the weekends and just like hang out and help out with stuff. And in the summer we basically asked him if he would be interested.
Well, we kind of had me and Ben got in a conversation about what he was currently making while in school, because he's still a full-time student,
right? For
the landscaping company he was doing, and I was like, man, if we could cover that, would you be interested in working here for that? It's really part-time; it's not full-time. He
didn't love the work that he was doing. It was a lot of like, grunt work.
For them, this is like a dream job because it's covering what he needs, and he's learning a ton of stuff.
He's learning, and so he's still Ben Turn, just because that's what. We have little Ben, and so it's kind of confusing. So we say Ben Turn. We tried to make Ben Employee stick because he went from intern to employee, but it just never really took
my
off.
kids still call him Ben Turn. People who come over meet him as Ben Turn. So he's basically Ben Turn. It's stuck.
Sarah Reed, I was not able to get any more arbor roses in other colors. They were sold out everywhere. I had two. I had the Quicksilver and the Honeymoon in my cart, and I was going to buy them, and they sold out. I ended up buying some shrub roses. I bought several shrub roses. So that's who Ben Turn is. Where do you recommend if I want to start learning in a city? I'm a college student wanting a farm in the future. If you can connect with a farm that could use some help, that's one way to do it. Definitely like doing hands-on stuff is a benefit, but starting to grow, like your school might have some sort of program, like looking around and seeing if there's any sort of urban gardening project, like anything like that where you can get hands-on experience, I think would be really beneficial. Laurel Jackson, thank you for that super chat. Where did you get the gray rooster shirt you wear in your budget trellis? It's so cute. My friend Jill gave it to me. I have no idea who makes it. I'd have to ask her because I'm not sure.
Madeline Garcia. Hi, Jess. My oldest and I are watching you right now. Wondering if you have any advice on caterpillars on our lettuce bed. By the way, my son Maddox doesn't think you'll remember me from Dallas.
I do remember you. You gave us a ride to the airport. I absolutely remember you. And I have been
Maddox, you just proved you wrong, bro.
And I've been seeing pictures of your new little one on Instagram. What was the question?
Caterpillars and lettuce bed.
That's I remember you, but I can't remember your question from 3 minutes ago. There's a spray. It's an organic spray. It's called BT. If you look that up, that would be what I would do for any sort of like caterpillars or worms. Lakota, thank you for a super chat. Goodness, guys, y'all are being so generous. Have you thought about growing kiwi and grapes on your trellis? Also, can you do an in-depth video about your irrigation and how you did it, along with would you mind contacting me back on Facebook? I have questions.
No, that's human food. Quit. Stop it. That's also Bear's job.
Okay, we do have an irrigation video that Jeremiah and Intern put up, but Intern actually did like a really great teaching video. What was that called? It was something like, this is finally it was finished, like 2 weeks ago.
Finally finished the irrigation system.
Finally finished the irrigation system. And that is a really in-depth, like, it was about 20 minutes long, and he talked all about the process. And actually, I think we do have kiwi berries.
No, she's saying kiwis or grapes.
Oh.
So, no, what we do have, grapes, I'm not interested in right now. Too much work, too much particulars. Like, that's maybe something I'll do in, like, my really old age. Like, honestly, I'm just not interested in grapes. Not right now.
Not till we can really
kiwis, I don't think they grow here, but we have the next best thing. We haven't planted them yet. We have a kiwi berry. It's like a grape, but it looks like a kiwi, and it grows in Arkansas really well. So we're actually about to plant those on the fence.
Somebody said we're lagging. Try refreshing your browser.
I think it's just their internet, because everyone else says we're good, and I'm noticing it here. We're not lagging, so it's not on the internet, on the Wi-Fi. So. Do you sell your produce at farmers markets? No, we are not going to do that either.
I did at one point. I was going to a farmer's market, but it was so much work. We were like doing baking and like packaging and all that stuff. And there were people there that were just obviously way more professional and producing way more like volume of stuff. And what I found that year that I did the farmer's market was that I sold everything, and I didn't put up, and I didn't have time. I didn't have time to can for the year. I spent all of one day and about half of another day getting ready for the market and then going to the market. And that's just not our goals. Our goals are not that. We want to grow food for our family. And so that's what we're doing first and foremost. And then we're providing for some friends and family members.
Can you do a video on how to build a shed? I don't know if I can answer that one, because I don't know that I need a shed. Like, what kind of shed? Like, what are we talking about? Like, I'm about to build like a small little tool shed to hang up like shovels and stuff in the garden.
That would work.
But that may not be what she's thinking about. Like,
yeah,
I would need more information. Also, someone, Tinker's wife, said that, what did you mean by kiwi berries are self-fertile? What does that mean? It is self-fertile too. What does that?
Probably means that you don't need like more than one.
Maybe we got something else. Because remember, we had to get a pollinator.
I have no idea.
Okay, so the kiwi berries we got 4 bushes. They haven't come yet, but they're on order. They were back ordered. But they sent us a pollinator bush to go with it. So I don't know. I'm learning. I don't know why they did that. If they are self-fertile, unless I'm thinking self-fertile means something else.
Oh, other kiwis have male and female to pollinate. So whatever we got, maybe are they kiwis?
They're
or
kiwi berries.
Oh,
kiwi berries.
Oh, so maybe it does need, I don't know.
Yeah, so basically our kiwi berries have to have a mate plant. He's sitting out in the garden by himself.
Megan said Goldshaw just built a shed, so that might be a good channel to watch. Another one to watch.
He did a video about a kit. He got a Home Depot kit and built it. So that might be good.
Another good one to watch is Sow the Land. He does a lot of building stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a small tool shed video. I'll show you. I'll do it soon.
Yeah, he's gonna build one down there in the corner of the garden where there used to be like a little compost, but then he's gonna put like a little tool shed for all that stuff. Darn, I saw some questions I was gonna answer. If you asked and you didn't get an answer, make sure you ask again.
Someone is having problems germinating seeds.
Oh, well, I'll get to that. That could be a lot of things, but a lot of people were asking for an update on Daniel. He had his surgery this week. His arm was really badly broken, and he had to have 3 plates put in and a bunch of screws. And His elbow is broken also. So he had 2 bones in his arm broken and his elbow was broken and like out of place. And so it was a pretty extensive surgery. He's doing a lot better now. Like the first couple of days after the surgery, he was in really rough shape, but he's definitely doing a lot better now. And his follow-up appointment will be later this week, and he'll kind of know a little bit more about like recovery and physical therapy and all that stuff. So that's the update on it.
Yes, in-depth mulch video is still coming up. I can't say when. Wait.
I don't have an in-depth. Oh, yes, in-depth mulch video.
Mulch. I was like, wait.
Yes.
What are we mulching?
I'm not mulching. I'm talking about mulch.
I was going to say, I just mulched everything. We're going to unmulch it and then mulch it again?
Not the back.
What in the back? Oh, the in-ground garden? The in-ground? I don't even know how to specify which garden we're talking about anymore.
Well, that's why we have to name them.
Okay, so let's name them. We have the OG.
Well, you can't just throw this out there. This is something that requires percolation.
Can you say percolation? Just let it roll off your tongue. Throw a few words and R's in there, Come on, say it. Come on, say percolation.
Stop. I do worm composting. I have a worm bin in here with worms in it.
Percolation. Just
stop being weird. You're going to make me so
We need to come up. We need to discuss it. Get off. What is your deal, bro? You're going to have diarrhea and I'm going to have to keep you locked up. Stop eating the beef.
Oh,
Gosh, the cat. Bob the garden bed. I like that.
He's just ready for his dinner.
Percolate. Percolate. That's an interesting word. Not gonna lie. Any info on how to cold stratify seeds? I don't know what cold stratify is, so
that's a me question. What it asked about cold stratification? Any info on how to cold stratify seeds? Oh, well, depending on what they are, I mean, you really just put them in your fridge like that. That can be cold stratification. But if it, depending on what it is.
Oh, you gave him cat food. Good.
Oh, he was just running his dinner.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, there are self-fertile varieties of kiwi berries. That's not what we got. We actually got some that require fertilization.
He also said we have to pay like Marvin Gaye out in the garden to make sure that they pollinate correctly. I don't know why.
Whatever.
I'm more of a Michael Bublé kind of person.
Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you, Green Witch Homestead.
Heirloom permaculture. Rubbing Brahms proximity in my face is not giving you cool points. Just saying. Guys, do not go follow heirloom permaculture until they send me ice cream. If ice cream shows up, go follow them.
Whatever. Andrea Proctor, thank you for the super chat. Snails are eating my bok choy and broccoli seedlings. Any organic tips for snails and raised beds? Snails is actually something I've never really dealt with here. I know that people will sometimes put little like crumbled up eggshells like all around their plants to deter snails and slugs because they're soft bodied, and so going across those can be an issue. And I want to say diatomaceous earth spread out can be problematic for snails as well. Like it can help keep those away. And okay, people are saying beer for snails. I've heard beer for slugs, and so I didn't know, but beer traps, I know a lot of people use those for slugs. So okay, so that works for snails as well. Lots of people are saying beer traps. Yeah, and diatomaceous earth. I was thinking, we don't really have very many snails here, so that's not something that I've personally dealt with. North Star Prep Stutter said wood ash as well. Do you grow calendula, and what uses have you found for it? The main use that I use, and yes, I do grow calendula, but what I'll do is I have my dehydrator, and I just lay paper towels up on top of my dehydrator. Most herbs I don't put in the dehydrator because drying them at room temperature is usually better for preserving them. But I will put a paper towel out and I'll put the flowers upside down so they're face down on that. And it takes like 2 days for them to dry out fully in my kitchen, at least. I guess if you lived in a more humid place, it would take longer. But and when they're fully dry, I just put them in a jar and seal them. And one of my favorite things to do with that is cover that with like a good skin oil, something like grapeseed oil, and something really light, and just infuse calendula flowers into the oil. And then if you make like salves or anything like that, you can use that oil. Calendula is really good for your skin. And so that's the main way that I use it. I don't grow a ton of it, so I get maybe like 2 quart mason jars every year from what I save. Mallory picked 2. I'm wondering if you could ever or did ever post your pumpkin bread recipe. My whole family and I watch all of your videos. I think I posted it, maybe, but I'm not exactly sure where it is. But hello,
okay, so
Shane,
just have to make some more.
Noah and Gracie. Hi. Thank y'all for that super chat.
Happy late birthday to Laurel. She gave us the $10 to ask about the chicken shirt.
Oh, Laurel. Well, happy birthday.
What's up, Citystead?
When is your Citystead did a cool video.
Is that the one you were watching that woke me up?
I was watching it this morning. Jeremiah was like, what is that? It was a whole video that was just like sounds from the homestead. So he's just doing stuff and it's not talking. It's just like what he's doing. And it's just all the interesting sounds of like, it was really, really cool.
That's really cool.
And what is that, ASMR or whatever? That's like the sound videos. It was really, really cool. You should link that, Josh, if you've got, or somebody link it. So people can see it. It was really good.
Someone is Malia coming? She's actually coming early because we're less locked down than Vegas is. So she actually flies in on Saturday.
Yep.
Saturday. When are our birthdays? Both in December.
Yeah, Malia normally comes through the summer for 8 weeks. She didn't get to come on spring break because that was right in the upswing of like just everything. And she was nervous. Her mom was nervous, and we didn't push it. We decided to forego that week visit to keep her out of airports during that time because everything was so unsure. But she was coming for the summer, and we started thinking about it, and it was like she can't go anywhere right now in Vegas. So we should go ahead and have her come now, and then she can spend her 9 weeks here and then go back. And at that point, maybe she'll be able to spend some time with her friends and she'll have the rest of the summer. So she'll be here Saturday. We're super excited about it. Our website is rootsandrefuge.com.
Someone was asking about how much land we want to go to. I say 100 acres.
That's what Jeremiah's hoping for, is like 100 acres.
Just
me personally, I'm kind of like 40 would be plenty sufficient. He's like, no, I want 100.
I cannot ride around on my ranch with my cattle like city slickers for 40 acres. I need at least 100 field and maybe like 500 wooded eventually.
My microgreens, I killed them. I did. I forgot about them. I'm the worst, guys.
I can't believe you told them.
I know.
You should just said we ate them all.
I killed them. They were growing so good, and then I didn't water them. I need to I grew them successfully on the kitchen counter. It just took up space. But that's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to grow microgreens upstairs because growing them downstairs, I just kill them dead. Done it like 4 times.
Yeah, now. I want the kind of land that I'm like, hey, honey, I gotta go fix the fence on the north. I gotta go to the north side of the land to fix the fence. I'll see you in a few days. Like, and gallop out there with all my materials and go fix the fence. I have to camp out, cook beans.
I do have a honey pot, Cassandra. I did get a beautiful honey pot. It doesn't have any honey in it right now, though, because my kids made a massive mess out of it. And I'm like, this is supposed to be romantic.
Gunther, I agree with you. She is hot, but you're not allowed to say that. So now you have to go, Gunther. That was not the right thing to say, man.
What kind of grow lights do you use? I have a lot of different kinds. I have one by Vivo Sun that I got on Amazon that's really good. And then the Harvest, darn it, I forget this name every time. Is it Happy Harvest Grow Light Company? Hidden Harvest Grow Light Company? it's Harvest something. Somebody help me out if you know what it is. They have really good lights. I really like those as well. Hey,
Microgreen
Stivers.
seeds are the same as regular seeds.
Yep. Oh, yes, and you can plant them individually and get full-size plants.
Sure can.
And that's the same thing if you like buy lettuce seeds that are like salad greens. Those are just you're planting them close together and then harvesting them young, so they're small. But if you space them out, you get full-size plants.
Well, $1 million for 100 acres. I'm thinking more on the chipper side, the chipper chicken.
Yeah, we're gonna look for the bargain land.
Yeah, we need the bargain 100 acres that I can use for a cattle farm, not the really
$1 million
awesome.
one.
Yeah, not the $1 million one.
You can actually. I mean,
unless somebody wants to give us $1 million 100 acre property, I will not deny that. I don't care where it comes from.
For some people, like it's hard to wrap your head around like cheap land, but where we live, like you're not going to have to pay $1 million for 100 acres. I mean, there are places here that it would cost that in areas, but there are a lot of areas where it would not cost $1 million for 100 acres. Maybe $500,000 with a house on it, like you could probably find that, or some really nice land might be $500,000, maybe with like on a river or something like that, but it won't cost that much. Greenwich Homestead. Thank you for the super chat. So I had the first shower in our outdoor solar heated water shower today. How cool is that? Let's just say the barrel did not have enough time in the sun. Less cool, or actually literally probably very cool rather than. That is really awesome though. Lisa Bruce, thank you so much for that.
Lisa Cuddy, you could probably have a beehive in your neighborhood. You just have to check with your town and your neighbors, like depending on what the rules are, like homeowners associations, all that kind of stuff. But yes, I know lots of people who do urban beekeeping.
Yeah, for sure. What can you grow in the shade? My mom's balcony faces north and she wants to grow something. Lettuces do pretty well. If it's like fully shaded, then you might have some issues and you might want to look into a cheap grow light just because you can get a grow light for pretty inexpensive. But truly, like lettuce would probably be just fine in a north-facing balcony. That would probably be my first go-to. I know cucumbers will tolerate the shade, but they do need some sun to grow. It really depends on what kind of shade you're talking about. Tayan Melek, thank you for the super chat. Goodness, guys, you are blowing us up on that. I'm new and recently started binge watching your videos, buying our first house soon, moving my small patio garden. Any advice for a beginner? I've only ever grown herbs. I have some pretty extensive like beginner gardeners videos that I would probably point you to for like the long answer. But, you're going to learn a lot in the process. Definitely plug into our Facebook community, Friends of Roots and Refuge Farm. There are so many wonderful experienced gardeners there that help new people and just grow what you're passionate about growing. Find things that interest you and grow those and keep it smallish to begin with so that you don't become overwhelmed. So it's really easy to plant a massive garden when you're first excited. But if you don't have a scope of the work that's going to be involved, I would say probably start smallish so you don't get overwhelmed. But yeah, definitely check out those videos. I think I've got some that are called like for beginner gardeners or new gardeners. What fish emulsion do you use? I got it from Haas Tools. Our trellises, I believe, are 4-gauge wire.
We planted our asparagus from
Stark.
Yeah, but they were like plants. Crowns. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Haas Tools is the fish emulsion that I'm using. What is the best word of advice to newbie chicken owners? Just 3 chickens. Enjoy them. I mean, they're chickens really are really easy. They really only start getting difficult when you get a lot of them. But for just having a few, make sure your coop's secure, depending on where you live. That's our biggest issue is predators. But with a secure coop, I mean, you don't have a lot of issues.
The site, is there a site you recommended for newbie gardeners, or you're saying we have a lot of videos?
Our Facebook group. We have a Facebook group. It's called Friends of Roots and Refuge Farm. I'm very sleepy. Y'all see me keep yawning. It's not even that I'm tired so much. It's just that I was outside. Being outside, see, I'm making him yawn. Being outside in the sun makes me feel that way. Jeremiah's middle name is Isaiah. For whoever asked that. Jeremiah, Isaiah, he always says his
someone was asking about
like
what chickens to start off with. Just I would pick out any of the regular chickens. Like,
Yeah, don't get the fancy
don't
ones
get
to
anything
begin with because they can be a
fancy.
little more fragile. But like any regular like laying hens, be a
Like,
good
just coming
place to
from our
start.
hatchery friends, it's like a lot of times like the top hats and different things like that are more fragile. I would just go with any of like your normal Wyandotte, Buff, or like any Orpington, Rhode Island Red, Delaware. I mean, Barred Rock. I mean, there's literally any of those in that size. I mean, honestly, you could even go with Cochins if you really like fat bottom girls.
I saw somebody ask about worms. Natalie is on here. Hey, it's a good life, and she's got some really good videos about like verma. Is it called vermiculture? Natalie, if you want to link those videos, that would be awesome.
Marina, you ready for another question?
Go for it.
Marina Munoz, what can I direct so tomorrow? She's in 6A. Radishes?
I mean, yeah, 6A.
I was just guessing.
I think 6A. I'm not super sure. I think you guys are probably getting close to being able to put transplants in. So I would say if you're past your last frost date, you need to double check your last frost date. But if you're past your last frost date, you could definitely start direct sowing like cucumbers, some lettuces and kales probably would be fine there. Yeah, like radishes and roots would probably be fine there. It's getting too hot for me here for that stuff, and I'm in like 7B. So you probably still have time. Lisa Bruce, what's going on? I definitely will be praying if you want. I mean, you can private message me if you want. Eric Allen, yes, probably too much sun. If you don't harden them off, if you don't like give them time to like get used to the sun, they'll do that. Okay, so part-time Permy said, I'm in 6A in Southwest Michigan. Average last frost date is May 15th and supposed to get into the 20s this week. So yeah, I would say you would probably be safest direct sowing like cool weather stuff then. I mean, you could go ahead and direct sow kale and radishes now, and if it's going to get down into the 20s, they'll probably be fine. They might take a little bit longer to germinate. Oh, you're in the hospital. Oh my goodness. I'll send you a message for fractured ribs. Goodness gracious.
Do you plant tomatillos deep like you do tomatoes?
They don't grow roots on their stem.
So you don't have
like
to do
tomatoes,
that.
so you don't have to do that. If you had them really leggy, you could plant them deep.
We will actually be doing a lot more cooking videos after we get the kitchen remodeled.
It's really hard.
It's really hard.
But light is really bad in there. As you guys, if you were on the beginning of this video, bad light really bothers me.
It's just that, and also like it's a Frankenstein kitchen that we've been holding together.
Yeah.
With faith.
But I'm going to show you guys cooking videos. Is there a tip trick to germinate chamomile? Don't plant it deep at all, Veronica. Really just like put the seeds on the top of the soil and then just kind of press them down in just like that. Don't even put soil over the top of them. Would be my guess. And then like spray
to get done in autumn.
Man.
What stuff is important to get done in autumn?
Like for the garden?
Or just in general. We usually do all of our non-garden related stuff.
Yeah.
Really?
No, ground cherries don't need to be planted deep. The only thing I plant super deep is tomatoes. And the only thing I put eggs under is tomatoes. That might help other things. I don't really know, but how's the fridge doing? It's plugging along, Nebraska Dave.
Blowing that nice freezing air all over our stuff. Makes it really nice, good, cold iced tea.
Can you do a video for the kitchen like you did the greenhouse? Totally understand it being a private space. If not, Sunflower Valley.
The kitchen remodel?
The thing. Oh, yeah. I mean, we'll probably show some process videos.
I will not do how-to videos on that kind of stuff. There are too many other people who get paid way more money on YouTube about how to remodel your house. I mean, seriously, guys. Like, there's too many other professionals. Like, just go subscribe to HGTV. Like, send Chip and Joanna a message. Like, that's not my. It's like I'm good at it, but I'm not gonna try and teach people how to do that. You know what I'm saying? Don't try and run in too many lanes. Like.
So I said to use peppermint. That's not a bad idea. I'm yawning so bad. I need to get
Peppermint
it
will
together.
not wake me right up. Peppermint puts me to sleep. I was like, rub peppermint on my back. I'm gone.
How often should I feed my tomatoes in grow bags? I'd say you probably have 2 months of planting them if you're using fresh soil. And then maybe every couple of weeks on a small dose. Brad, Wild Boar Farms, the tomato guy, he told me that it's better to use a really small dose of organic fertilizer consistently throughout the season rather than dumping a whole lot on them at once. So,
Super chat.
oh, wow. TC Games 65. How is the new goat? A dark shirt might help if the light bugs you. That's what I need to do is change my shirt. I heard coffee grounds help for worms. What you do and others like is so cool. Thank you so much for that generous super chat. I do give my coffee grounds to the worms, and the new goat Fred is going to be in the vlog tomorrow. I shot some footage of him today so you guys could see him.
Another super chat.
Thank you, Caitlin. Golly, you guys. Question, new raised bed, 16 inches tall, need to fill with some junk soil in the bottom that has some grass and weeds. Should I put down cardboard on top before my good post? What I usually try to do when I know that I'm putting weeds in my beds because I'm having to use junk soil is I try to get the majority of the clumps out. You could potentially maybe put down some paper. It depends on how much you're trying to put down, whether the cardboard is going to be a hindrance to planting or not. That's an idea, but really just depends on how much of that junk is really in there. Like all of my beds end up with a little bit of that in it. And I don't have a major weed problem as long as I stay on top of mulching. So I've never done like a cardboard layer in between. But, you could put something down, but I would just try to get the biggest clumps out. I have 10 different transplants on the go, and my tomatoes are the only ones that aren't growing as fast as usual, but look healthy. What's the issue? Deficiencies usually show up in a lack of coloring. I would wonder if your soil is really dense, like if it's light. Sometimes that can be the issue, and then making sure that they have enough light. Those would be my first problem shooting. Do you use diatomaceous earth? Yes, I do. I don't use anything super liberally. Like I usually will err on the side of hand picking. I think last year I put diatomaceous earth on my garden twice. I sprayed it with neem oil maybe twice, the whole season. And that was the only thing I did. But I lost a lot of stuff to pests, so I don't know that that's the best example. I just don't like messing with the ecosystem. So I kind of use those things as a last resort.
What do you grow your microgreens in when you grow them inside? Bootstrap farmer trays?
Bootstrap farmer trays and with just a soilless mix.
How are the chips? The chips are actually, we have not lost any. We lost some. Obviously, okay, when you're getting chips in the mail, just if you haven't ever done that before,
for those of you who aren't normally with
baby
us.
chips, okay? They're chips on this channel. Get with it. And I'm not talking about stuff like fish and French fries. Okay, I'm talking about baby chips. Okay,
which are young chickens.
When they come in the mail, just sometimes one won't make it or a few won't make it. That's normal. There's lots of reasons of why. It's not our fault. It's not the hatchery's fault. It's just be prepared. If you order chicks online, it's possible that some will make it. But since then, we lost a couple in the beginning, in the process of putting a metric. It's not a metric ton. That's one of those I think out loud things, but it's a lot. It's 100 plus layers. I got 15 ducks. Not one duck has died. 5 geese. And they love me.
They're so cute. They love you.
Yeah, all the meat birds was the ones I was expecting to at least they're vicious. They're well, there's not enough food in here because I'm still hungry. Let's kill off Stan. And then we can all eat Stan, and when we're done eating Stan, we can maybe kill Bob. I don't know. Just depending on where we're at.
They haven't though.
No, they've been living in harmony. So,
thank you, Melissa, for that super chat. I appreciate that. They said refresh if you're buffering. Yeah, we ordered ours from Murray McMurray Hatchery.
They are the best.
The roses I actually have growing outside right now are called Tangerine Sky Arbor Roses, and I bought them at Lowe's, but they're available multiple places. However, since my beautiful roses have just stolen the hearts of many, and I have published many times their name. They have sold out on every single online place that there is. So probably not going to be able to find those just yet.
Come on, roses again?
Yeah, my roses that are out there, they're sold
We
out.
found them on another website.
No, not the tangerine skies.
Oh, no, not those.
Yeah, we found
But
a different color, but then those sold out too.
But I thought we found them on another website.
Those sold out too. I didn't get to buy those. I dawdled.
You shouldn't have dawdled.
I dawdled. I was going to buy another Arbor Rose.
Well, if any of y'all found any of those David Austin Arbor Roses at your local stores.
Those aren't David Austin.
Or what are the other ones?
Arbor Rose.
There's a company that makes them.
Arbor Rose.
That's what it's called?
Yeah, it's all one word.
All right, well, she did not get the roses she wanted. These are not the roses she's looking for.
I did buy some more David Austin roses.
Right, but these are not the roses she was looking for. Get it? It's a Star Wars reference.
That was cute. I liked it. Did you see my Star Wars references that I made on Friends of Roots and Refuge? Welcome to the green side. We have tomatoes. The fruits are strong with this one.
That was a good reference to Welcome to the Green Side.
Welcome, like, to the dark side. It's just
but but the dark side doesn't say welcome to the dark side. Like,
I know, but
they're not polite.
It was a mild Star Wars reference that opened into a big. Okay, fine. You're not even proud.
And you're not even proud. You're not even proud. I'm so proud. Welcome to the dark side. Would you like a red lightsaber?
That's my elbow bleed. Thank you, Wanda Sue. And then
actually, do not do that, Green Zebra. I'm pretty sure that those plants are copyrighted. If you propagate them, you're breaking some kind of copyright infringement, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's the thing with a lot of
saying.
roses. Okay, here's the thing with a lot of roses is that a lot of them are copyrighted. Now, I don't know if that means that you can't, if you're not supposed to propagate them for your own personal use, or if you're just not supposed to propagate them to sell. But any propagation of copyright roses that happens on Roots and Refuge Farm will not be videoed. I'll just let you know right now. So some people are like, oh, you can do that. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I can't get away with anything, like, at all. I follow the rules. Thank you for all your teaching. My pumpkin and butternut squash seedlings have gone yellow and brittle since transplanting. Any ideas or suggestions, Lizette? Thank you for that super chat. I'm really sorry about your seedlings. Unfortunately, squash does not love to be transplanted, and a lot of times it throws a little fit after it is, but just hold tight because it will probably bounce back. I shared in my garden tour, if you see the part when I go to the backyard and show my squash, they look great now. They're setting fruit. They're super healthy. They looked next to death right after I put them in, so they'll probably bounce back. See, patented, so you're not allowed to do vegetative propagation. So, yeah, that's what I thought. Plant patents last 20 years. And that's the deal with, with that. So I don't know. Are you allowed to propagate for just your own personal uses? I don't know these things. This is literally my first year to have a rose bush that I cared anything about. So, yeah, the rose bush I have now is the color is called Tangerine Skies. It's an arbor rose. It's all one word, ARBOROSE. And then I also have my friend sent me 3 David Austin roses, Scepter Dial, the Lady Gardener, and there's another one. It's something Austin, Olivia Austin rose. And I've got those planted out there. And then I ordered 7 more rose bushes yesterday. It was a little excessive. This is awkward.
And none of those were arbor roses?
They didn't have those. So now I have to order more when they do.
You guys are not helping at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Lisa Bruce said, start your start your squash and stuff in like toilet paper rolls. Like if you have like peat pots or something like that, like something that you can plant directly. That's what I usually do. If I start squash, I'll do that. Compost into turtleizer. He's so funny. Yeah, there's just going to be a lot of roses around here. Definitely. Can you plant beans in a tower garden? I did plant beans in my green stalks. Lisa. I don't think I have my affiliate link. Oh, maybe you can just use my coupon code for Greenstock. I think that you get the discount by using the coupon code. It's Roots10. If you purchase from Greenstock, we have that affiliate link. And
I can put your name on Star Wars cups. What Star Wars cups? No one offered me any Star Wars cups.
Oh my goodness.
Can you bury Kajaria melons up to their leaves like tomatoes? Mine are so lanky. I thought you would want them to be lanky to get to the trellis, right? Am I wrong?
It really depends. If you feel like they're leggy, like to the point of being a hindrance to them, you can bury pretty much anything deep. It's not going to hurt it. It just might not help it. So you could, or maybe like halfway. Greenwich Homestead said, from my Master Gardener Handbook, patented roses can be propagated for personal use and sharing, but not for monetary gain. Oh, snap. There's about to be Tangerine Skies Arbor roses all over this dang farm.
Oh, so that means we can go ahead and cancel the order for all the other roses.
There will also be lots of those all over. That's so good. Yay. Pine needles for mulch. Okay, pine needles are going to make your soil really acidic. So they're fantastic for mulching things like blueberries and azaleas. However, you would want to maybe do some soil testing if you were going to mulch like your veggie garden with that. Has anybody pine mulched a veggie garden? I haven't. We don't have really pine needles here, so maybe we can get some information from our lovely hive mind. Cilantro does need cool conditions. That's why I got them, Lorena. I'm going to grow one square bed with a mini blue corn. That was one of the recommendations we'd gotten. And thank you, North Star Prepsteader, for posting that link. I'm going to do some little mini blue corn, like popcorn corn, in one of the square beds. And then I'm putting roses in like the rest of them. And I'm straight up propagating some roses.
I rue the day that I built those 4x4 beds.
Rue the day. Rachel Carter, thank you. She said Monty Dawn has some good vlogs about propagating roses. I've heard that it can be difficult, but I think you're supposed to do it like later in the year, or like in the summer.
Someone has asked, and I think I've seen
Thank you, Danielle, too.
About they just name off some stuff that can grow with good sun. They have a balcony that gets like half day heat.
So good sun and in pots.
Yes.
I would say peppers would be something that you could really grow there. You could do like tomatoes, specifically like patio or bush tomatoes would be a really good thing to do in pots on a sunny balcony. I've seen people grow cucumbers in pots on balconies, just like with a trellis for them to grow up. Or if you've got like a balcony, like depending on what your guardrail is, I've seen people grow like cucumbers and stuff on that, which is pretty cool, and beans as well. However, you're not going to grow a ton of beans in pots, so that might not be worth it too. Depends on how many people you're feeding.
But yes, it was one rose bush per side of the arbor, and then they grew to the top and met in the middle.
What?
When we planted the arbor last year, it was one rose bush on each side.
Right. They talk about egg laying and meat chickens, but why can't people raise their own? But it seems like everyone orders the chickens from the mail. The breed that a lot of people raise for meat chickens is like Cornish rocks, and they're not sustainable. That is not something that you can breed yourself. So people like them because they grow out for meat really fast, but you are dependent on the hatchery if you're going to raise those. Some people, it's funny.
No, you can. Well, I've actually had a long talk with Murray McMurray about this, but it's just you have to be extremely regulated on their food.
Right.
Like you can't, because the thing is they're grown, they're meat birds, like they're bred for that. And so if you overfeed them, they'll get too fat. They'll stop laying. They won't move around enough. Like he keeps breeders to be able to fill his orders, but he literally has to measure out how much each chicken is getting, like, and keep it controlled, and then like make sure that they don't get too big. especially when they're young, he was saying. So it's just, that was really complicated. And I was like, I'm so glad that you're the guy running the hatchery.
Tracy Burns, we don't have a Patreon. We've never gotten into that. I know that it's actually really great for some people, but we've always really tried to put as much content up on our channel as possible, like posting daily in seasons like this. When we have a lot of content, we post less in the winter, and we just appreciate the rest during that time. But I'd never felt like I could produce more content for Patreon, and I didn't want to take away the free content to make paid content. So I just didn't do it.
It's not to say that we would never do Patreon. We're just, it's not on the radar right now.
I made my elbow bleed.
Because we've learned not to say never.
Yeah, we don't say
about
never.
Anything.
I fell up the stairs the other day in my house.
Up the stairs.
I tripped and fell.
Yeah.
I'm slightly clumsy sometimes. So thank you, Joan and Johnson, living happy and well. I appreciate that. Your beard. I just started.
Your beard is like a testosterone. Your beard is like a testosterone forest. Any woman would like to drive into it. Clearly, you are mistaken. I can name off a few people who have beards like that. This is not the one. Sorry.
Oh man.
Someone else called me a Dothraki this week, which I can kind of see that because they have real patchy beards. So, that's accurate. Not the muscle part, just the beardy part. But
oh, that's so cool. I had a plant sale today and was selling Kajari melons. A woman came and said she was growing it this year too because a woman on YouTube said too. That's so cool. That tickles me.
What?
Someone was selling Kajari melons at a plant sale, and someone else came and said, "Oh, I'm growing that this year because a woman on YouTube said to." What size fabric grow bags for pink bumblebee tomato? 15-gallon, 20-gallon less. I think you can pretty well grow, a tomato plant in a 10-gallon. So 15 would be sufficient. 20 would be plenty sufficient. Look up Wild Boar Farms on YouTube. He doesn't have a lot of videos out there, but he does some container growing, and he just uses like big tubs. Thank you, Danielle Terry. My goodness, you guys have blessed our socks off tonight. Thank you so much. For a 10 milliliter roller ball, what is a good dilution of tea tree oil to use on my skin? Lauren, can you answer that question? Because I don't want to say the wrong thing. It probably depends on who exactly you're using it for and what the application would be. Sometimes I double check with Lauren on stuff like that. I want to say it would be something like just a few percent. It wouldn't be very much. But it just also depends.
Someone said, how do I make my own mulch? You could get a wood chipper and chip stuff up. You could pile up old leaves, grass clippings. Straw is actually how we make our own mulch because it's easy and cheap.
My dragon tongue bush beans, not so much. They usually do pretty well for me, but sometimes if you do have like one type of plant being attacked more than others, like that does happen, and I don't really know what the reasoning behind it is.
Someone said, dumb question. Not a dumb question. We don't believe in dumb questions. We are that kind of cheesy, peachy kind of stuff person. There is no dumb question. Okay, that's not true. Sometimes my kids do ask questions. I'm like, can you have caffeine at 10:30 at night? That might be a dumb question. Okay, but this is not a dumb question. What does a Kajari melon taste like? It tastes like awesome.
It's kind of a mixture between like a cantaloupe and a honeydew melon.
Now, which description did you like better? It
more,
tastes like awesome.
It
tastes like a honeydew melon and a cantaloupe, which is true. It does.
They're really sweet and fresh. It's kind of like just a muskmelon kind of thing.
It's so good. You will eat one and then you will kill off all your other melons and only grow Kajari melons because they are the best.
That's not true. We're growing lots of other melons, but we are growing lots of Kajari melons as well.
God help me. You're supposed to be on my team.
Stop. The only dumb question is the one that goes unasked.
We cannot watch Outlander because it's a little too risque for our tastes.
I have read the book, so it's been a long time, but
and Jessica told me on the front end, she's like, I don't think that's going to be our show. So we watched Downton Abbey instead. and I'm fine with that.
Yes, I trellis the Kajari, North Star Prep Stutter. So we are past 8. I do want to say one more thing. The next time we go live,
We'll probably,
based on the way things have gone the last few weeks, we will probably have rolled over 300,000 subscribers. We're really close right now.
That's pretty crazy.
And
that's crazy.
Yeah, and it's just the time. I think just the mix between the whole pandemic and stay-at-home orders and people getting into gardening for food security, and also because they didn't have anything else going on. We've had just a ton of traffic, which is absolutely amazing. And so, yeah, we're looking at, like, we're really close. Oh, hey, there's Murray.
Maybe not here.
Oh, I didn't see
I gave good chicken advice. He was like, spot on. I was like, thanks, man.
So, yeah, we're, like, super close to 300,000 subscribers, which is...
I just can't quit because I am too legit.
So it's pretty amazing, and we just wanted to say thank you.
Just wake up every day and say that to yourself in the mirror.
We just wanted to say thank you so much. I was just looking at that today and just thinking, wow, it's really crazy to me because, like, I remember the first year we went to HOA, I think we had, this was like 2 years ago.
30, 27, something like that.
It was
between 27 and 30. It was before that.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out what year it was. It's 2018.
Yes.
Yeah. And we were at about 30,000 subscribers, I think. And I remember being there, and Justin and Rebecca were there, and they were just rolling over 300,000.
Right. I remember the live video.
And I just remember being like, oh my gosh, like it just felt like crazy. Like that just didn't even feel like that would ever happen. And so it's really amazing. And it has been just a massive, huge blessing to us. And today, you guys get Monday's vlog. Like I always talk about all the things that are going to be Monday's vlog. But I was walking out today, and we were walking back, and well, yeah, my kids remind me about the cruise, but right now we can't exactly.
My sister sat in the dining room today and was like, "You owe them like 3 cruises at this point."
But I was walking to the back, and like the high tunnel's coming up, and the kids were playing out there, and I was talking to a friend of mine that a friend that I've connected with through Instagram and know her and her husband through some. Daniel actually, and I was talking to her, and I just was like, I really feel like sharing with you this about vlogging, and like really just felt like encouraging her in that. And turns out they have like a very similar like vision to ours about like educating people about growing food. Like they wanted to get to that, and I was talking to her about it, and it was just like this really amazing moment to realize like how far we have come over the last couple of years, and the transformation that's taken place in our farm and just our lives. And truly, like, we praise God and thank God for that, but I've talked about it some briefly in settings like this, but I really felt like it was God that led me to do YouTube. And I mean, we were in a really bad financial place. We had been obedient on things that didn't make any sense. We had closed down our business when it didn't make any sense. And I had stopped traveling for ministry and all this stuff. And we were home, and like, we felt like the thing that God was telling us was to prioritize the farm and our family. And we did. And it was just this really, really difficult season of about, 6 or 7 months where we were just living by faith, and we were like, what are we supposed to be doing right now? This doesn't make any sense. And I remember sitting on my back porch, and it was one of those prayers where like you're really very desperate, and then like God just kind of breaks through. And I just really feel like sharing that, like, the thing that God was saying to us during that was what he said to me. And that was, he said, I release you from the fowler's snare, because I was trying to figure out all the ways that we were going to get out we were going to make this happen. I mean, for years, we had been trying so hard to make this farm vision happen, on all of our power and all of our steam, and putting everything we had towards it and working so hard on our power. And that was, I had just this, I mean, just this imagination just come over me in this moment. And it was like, I just saw this YouTube video, and I went next door to Jeremiah. He was next door talking to his mom. She was still alive. And I went in and I said, I'm going to start doing YouTube like it's my job, and it's going to run this farm vision. And they know me well enough that when I come in with that tone in my voice, they were just like, okay, like you do you, girl. And I turned around and I made a video. I posted a video that day. You can still go watch it. It was a video where my cousin's goat had a baby and it was dying, and I went and got it and saved it. So if you've been with me that long, it was about March, I think, of 2017. And I went and I did this video, and I did videos regularly after that for about 2 months, and we didn't have very many subscribers, and then didn't get very many views. It certainly wasn't funding anything. And then all of a sudden it just started to take off. And so now 3 years later, kind of looking back over that and looking back over the last 300,000 subscribers and this level of growth, and being able to do things like putting up a high tunnel and being able to expand our gardens and being able to pay off our debt, just the amount of blessing that we live in. I mean, literally, like today, like gifts came in the mail from Amazon from viewers who just wanted to bless us, and just the amount of love and outpouring that we get to live our lives in. I say this to people all the time. It's genuinely not fair. Like, I just don't even understand it. And the only thing that I can do is just be incredibly humbled by it. And so I just wanted to thank you and just kind of share that with you guys, because we're there. We're right at that threshold, and I always get really really reminiscent of that. Thank you, Nicole Rios. I'm glad. Sometimes you just feel led to share testimonies like that. And it's like, God's not a respecter of persons. And so if you see something happening in another person's life, like you can go to him and say, hey, I know you can bring breakthrough, and you can do these amazing things. And I'm just submitting my life to you and asking you to do what you will with it and do amazing things in my life. And he just so will. Rise Tents, I'm 11. Do you have any plants that you would recommend to try growing this year? Well, I don't know how much space you have, but I think it's amazing that you're wanting to grow a garden. I really like growing cherry tomatoes. That's what my kids grow in their garden, is they grow cherry tomatoes, and melons, like small melons, are really, really good.
Ground cherries.
Ground cherries are really cool. Those are like a little small tomatillo. They're real sweet and good to eat. And basil is a really good thing that you can grow and get a lot from. That's really tasty.
Kendra Harrison, we have 7 acres.
Somebody said, do you ever worry about money like the rest of us? I will tell you that there was a time in my life where my car was getting repossessed out of my driveway. My credit was shot because I didn't have enough money to pay my bills. And that was the season that God taught me not to worry about money. I don't worry about money anymore, and I haven't worried about money in a long time, but it has nothing to do with having money. It has to do with the fact that money doesn't sit on the throne of my life. It got dethroned a long time ago. And God really took me out on a limb and taught me that when he tells you to do something, if you look at the bank account first to see if you can say yes to him or not, you will never have money in your bank account. Because the thing is if you have $1 million in your bank account and you need to check your bank account to decide whether you're going to be obedient, you're a heck of a lot less likely to be obedient whenever you have excess. But if you learn to be obedient whenever the bank account says 0 and God says, go give away what you have, then you can have $1 million in your bank account and you're going to do whatever he says to do. And so that's...
No, we're not just saying that. Like,
I'm not just saying that.
We don't share about this just a whole lot, but there was a time when we closed a lawn care business to really pursue the farm because I couldn't do both. Right? We knew that it was going to come with some financial struggles. All right. Now we had the money in our account to finish the garden.
Thank you, James.
Okay. So we had the money in the account.
Because we
someone
had a
gave
friend,
it to us.
We had a friend that is one of our closest friends gave us $1,000. And then I was leading worship with Daniel at a home church in a tiny meeting in West Tennessee, and a complete stranger gave me $1,000. So we had $2,000 in our bank account. That's all we had.
And we had to buy all the soil, which was expensive, and finish building the beds. All right. And we were getting behind in our car payment.
This is the beginning of 2017, like March.
Okay. So we were behind on our car payment. We had this money, and we were like, well, what should we do? Should we get the car caught up, or should we build the garden?
And we knew what God was saying.
We felt like God said, build the garden. And we're like, well, that feels contradictory because we're supposed to pay our debts and all this stuff. And he said, no, I want you to build the garden. And
I thought that, and I was like, I just want the garden. But when he said, no, I feel like we're supposed to build the garden, I was like, are you serious? Because that wasn't his thing. Mm-hmm. And they repossessed our car. It was humiliating.
Not just that. It came at
while
the most humble. It was the most humble time. We were hosting a house church.
Story.
I love
it
this
still
story.
Makes me a little embarrassed.
We were having people over for church at our house. We were hosting like a small house church at the time. And it was that Sunday, and everybody
our friends
was here.
had to move
so we had to come inside
cars.
and say, "Hey guys, we need you guys to move your cars because
the
tow truck's here to take our car." And they were like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's what we're supposed to do." And so like we've walked that out. Like that's a really.
And here's what's crazy cool. Okay, we took the money that we felt like God said to finish the garden with. We finished the garden. We didn't have money to put soil in the garden. We were like, what are we going to do? We don't have enough money. And that was it for us. That was all we had. And out of nowhere, I get a call. I was back up shooting a berth. I end up getting a call and getting paid for a berth, the exact amount of money that we needed for the soil. Buy the soil with that. We put the garden, because God's like, put in the garden. And we're like, okay. And like when you see our garden and we tell you our garden was an act of worship, it was because it literally took stupid obedience to do that, other than what made sense. And then God said, start a YouTube channel. And we're like, okay. And I'm going for it. And do you know the video that started our YouTube channel's rise to what it is right now was the very first garden tour? Right now, the fulfillment that we are walking in took stupid steps of faith and obedience that made no sense. Sacrifice.
I know that we got ourselves into the situation. We chose to get the car. But I mean, I could have gone and worked and made money to pay for the car, but I couldn't do that and do the farm and build the garden. And it didn't make any sense. And here's what's crazy is, like, I was a minister. Like, I used to go preach places, and like that was a big part of my income. And I remember the tearing part of my life where I so knew God was telling me to close the photography business and stay home. Like, whenever I was traveling all over the place, I went on a 10-day trip to India, and like this itinerant ministry trip. And I came home and I was like, I've got to stay home. I remember being in my goat barn at 1:00 at night because I was milking goats after a revival service. And God had been telling me, just stay home. Focus on the farm. Your calling is the farm. I had people calling me, like this one random lady didn't even know me very well. She calls me. She's like, I just have to tell you, I just keep seeing this picture of you in an apron, and God's saying your apron is your mantle. Like, this is your calling, and this is how you will nurture and grow people, is your apron with your vegetables and your eggs in it. And I'm sitting here going like, okay. For years, this is going on. It takes us a long time, but I'm sitting in my milk stall one night, and I thought this was so crazy at the time. And this morning I'm walking out, but God said to me so clear, these goats are my glory and your garden is my glory. And like, God calls people to things and he equips them for it. And I am now I can confident from 300,000 YouTube subscribers and from being able to do things like put up the high tunnel and do all that stuff, I can confidently give you a testimony that you might see the value in. But 3 years ago, when this stuff was happening, people thought we were nuts. Like, for a long time, people thought we were crazy, legitimately. And now, I mean, you get really validated. The reason why I'm just like bubbling over with joy all the time is, I feel really validated. Like, this makes me really, like, I'm like, yeah, look, we were right, but for a long time, you have to walk through a season where you don't see the end from the beginning. You just have to trust that God does. And he's going to tell you to do things sometimes and lead you into things that might not make sense,
And so I definitely say, like, I share that with you because, I mean, we regularly get comments of people being like, well, it must be nice to be able to build all that stuff. I'm like, it really is. Praise
really
God.
is.
It is amazing. Thank you for
And if
noticing.
I ever have to question where we are now, I can just sit back and remember the car getting repossessed, the chicken coop.
Our chicken coop got repossessed. It was I don't think we've ever publicly told that story. Like, it was a building.
So
we
bad.
had stinking finance because we got into so much debt. We first got into homesteading. We're like, we got to do all this stuff. We're so scared.
You know why we tell you guys to slow down
and stop being fearful and stop trying to make things happen.
We got into this feeling like, okay, this is really important, and it is. It is really important. But we tried to skip the process and make more happen than we could. We lived outside of our means. So we went to those rent-to-own buildings and got one and turned it into a chicken coop. And honestly, Jessica was super excited. You can see it in a lot of our old videos, right? The old Dirksen building, right? So some stuff happened, and there was a big miscommunication, and essentially
they threw the chickens out.
They came. I'm working. I had to go work and help my brother on a side job to make some extra money because we just needed the money. So I wasn't even home, right? And these guys, but they didn't even give us a chance to like correct the wrong. Like, we are almost done paying for the building, and they just wanted to repo it because they could resell it. And they had gotten all the money out of it. So they, on a technicality,
that was during the same time
they showed up while I'm not there, and they took the chickens out of the coop and took it while I'm gone. And honestly, we had the money in the account.
We owed like a handful of $100, but we seriously
had the money in the account.
God said, build the garden. We had to make.
So we had to watch two things get repossessed off our property in humiliation to plant this garden. Like, this garden was sowed with faith because it was like, okay, we just lost our car.
Sowed in tears. Like,
we just lost our chicken coop. Like, the chickens were like living homeless. They were homeless chickens.
We had like a dog kennel that we put them in, but still, like, they straight up threw the chickens out of the coop. And
the chickens are like, I just got evicted out of my house.
I seriously sat at my window crying, okay? Because I just was so stuck. I was like, how? And I take on a lot of condemnation in situations. Like, I felt like a bad person because our stuff wasn't paid for. Like, that made me feel like a failure. And like I'm playing the piano and just crying and realizing, and I'm like getting healing in the process because I'm realizing at that time, that moment, like the breakthrough I got in my heart in that moment was that I realized that there was still part of me that believed God would humiliate me to teach me a lesson. And in that moment, I realized, like, God is not that kind of father. Like, he doesn't have to humiliate me to humble me. Like, he does not take joy in my humiliation. And I will never forget them throwing my chickens out of our coop. We had almost paid for this building. And it was literally, we could give them the money and keep the building, but we wouldn't be able to plant the garden. We wouldn't be able to build the garden. And I'm like sobbing at the piano. And I'm like, you take no joy in my humiliation. Like, I'm just like sobbing, worshiping to God while they take my chicken coop and they straight up load it up, leave the chickens in the yard. And you know what I did? I just took them some Gatorade and blessed them. Dead serious.
They're like looking at her like,
and
what?
I'm like snot face crying.
They probably didn't even drink it. They probably just threw it out, being like, she probably poisoned it or spit in it or something. We just jacked this woman's chicken coop. And the guys that repoed it, they knew it was wrong. Like, they knew they were taking the guys in the office knew that what they were doing, and the guys that did the repo, and they were like, this isn't right.
And truly, like, now, thank you, KT Cat. Like, Jeremiah, he was working with his brother, and he came home, and he was like, he just said, he's like, I'm going to build you a beautiful chicken coop. And
now you know why that chicken coop mattered so much.
Yeah, the one that we have now, it matters. He's like, I'm going to build you a beautiful chicken coop. And he was like, it'll have a door that you can hang a wreath on whenever you want, and it'll have a flower box. He was like, I'm going to build you a beautiful chicken coop. He's like, we should have never financed that chicken coop. He said that was such a fearful decision. He's like, and God is setting everything right, and he's taking us back to square one. And I'm like, okay, like, and I mean, I'm just like completely a mess. And this is literally like the months, the years, even a few years that led up to the breakthrough that you see us living in now. It was not. You were blessed in the name of the Lord in sports drink.
Did you cast it on him like Catholic priests said? put some ash.
What else do you do but laugh? Oh my gosh, that was the crappiest thing. It was so bad. It was literally, I just remember like for days being like, my chicken coop got repossessed. What kind of people are we? My chicken coop got repossessed.
I mean, name one time you've ever heard of anyone else having their chicken coop repossessed. When has that ever happened? You know right now that that's never happened before. You've never heard that. You'll never hear it again. We are the channel that has coined the repossessed chicken coop. Part of our story.
That is in my story.
So what happens is that you'll like, listen, guys, when you see people getting success or going places and you're like, man, like, you know, I want that, or, you know, whatever. Like, and you start dealing with like your human flesh, comparison, all that stuff. Like,
God must love them more than me. Like, and all that
the
stuff
thing is
that
like,
comes up.
You don't know the journey that
You
they've
weren't there
been
the day
on.
the chicken
Yeah,
coop
you
was
were not there the day the chicken coop got
Well,
repossessed.
some of you are Lauren's on here.
Lauren was there.
literally
No,
here.
she wasn't there. She was there the day the car got repossessed. Okay, what I'm saying is like, listen, like just because someone has a platform or has influence or has something that's like seems really important, like you don't know the story that they took to get there. Like, it's been a journey. And I told her one day we would share this. So one day we're going to share about the repossessed chicken coop. She's like, not for a long time.
When our channel first started to blow up, and it was like this thing of like, you
yeah,
know,
did they take the eggs? Did they like fill up a dozen eggs and like take the eggs?
They might have, like, but that, seriously, like when it first started to blow up, Jeremiah's like, yeah, we should tell people about that. I'm like, too soon, bro. Too soon.
I mean, even after I finished
on the phone, I knew she was. I remembered her being around. I know Daniel was here.
Even after the
Daniel was crying. Bless him. He was crying with me over my chicken coop.
Janus,
golly.
He's kind of a sucker for crying.
Oh, imagine what the chickens were thinking. I don't know. We went and moved them over to the other thing, but it's just crazy. I don't even know that we owed hardly anything on it, and they'd already gotten payments for us for like 2 years. It was one of those stupid decisions. Don't ever finance a chicken coop. That's just so silly. But it was very emotional. It was a very emotional thing because here's what's crazy is that my chickens for years to me were such a picture of like the fulfillment, because I'd wanted the farm for so long, and the chickens, because here's what's wild, guys. In that season when we had the chickens and we had like 2 garden beds and we had 2 goats, I lived with this overwhelmed, oh my gosh, you gave me a farm, God. I could not even fathom what we have now. The reason I'm so blown away right now is because like I couldn't even wrap my head around this a couple of years ago. Oh, thank you so much, Priscilliana.
Hopefully you can read that.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And
you're out of breath.
I know. I've laughed so hard remembering this, but it was crazy because at that time, like I thought what I had was fulfillment. And so when part of that got taken away, what it felt like was that I hadn't actually been fulfilled. But what happened was, okay, do you know how sometimes I tell you guys when you first plant your tomato plant to pull off the first blooms because it makes the roots go deeper so that it can bear more fruit later? When my stuff got repossessed and my stuff was failing and I was having to quit and I was having to close doors and I was having to stop, like my roots were going deeper. Our roots were going deeper for now. And there are times in our lives where it feels like you think you're about to have some fruit and you're so excited. And then all of a sudden it's just stolen and gone. Like you're just being pruned so that you develop a deeper root system. And when I look back at that, like we laugh about it now and it's like part of our story, but like truly that is why, I mean, could I really fully appreciate what we have now if that hadn't happened? Like if we hadn't walked through that and like, y'all are so funny. If we're thinking free range, they were free range that day. There was no other option. But I mean, truly, like I couldn't I'm thankful now to look back at that season and see everything that we walked through. It has given me a much greater depth for appreciation for now. Like, to me, like, this season where I used to like, I remember I used to, like, this is crazy. I really don't want to just start sobbing like a baby on here. Thank you, Ashley.
Okay,
I used to put things on my Amazon wish list because I was hoping that maybe I could save up my birthday money in 8 months and buy that little $50 gift for myself. I mean, that's the level of like lack of money that we had. Like, you didn't buy anything. You didn't have anything. Like, you literally, like, you didn't go get your hair cut. Like, you didn't do those things. And I lived in an incredible amount of gratitude because I couldn't believe I had chickens. Like, I just was so excited for this. But, like, do you know that it still just blows my mind when like gifts show up that people sent me, like just things that I put on a list just because I thought, oh, I'd love to have this, but I'm not going to buy it for myself. And someone sends it to me, just blows my mind. And I'm thankful that I didn't always have the ability to just buy what I wanted, because that wouldn't be so special to me. And, you know, I'm really thankful. I'm really thankful for having strong roots, you know. I mean, like, that's so much part of our name. And I don't know, like, today has just been one of those days. I mean, just watching the fact that we're so close to 300,000 and just remembering looking at channels that were at 300,000 and thinking that we just not ever being able to wrap our head around that would ever be us.
Mm-hmm.
And just looking at where our farm is, like, I thought that I had fulfillment before any of this started. And I just had no clue at all. It genuinely is infinitely more than I could ever ask or imagine. What?
Someone said, if 300,000 subs equals homeless chicken story, I hope no. I'm also here for whatever story we get at 400,000. Stay tuned.
I don't know. The homeless chicken story that's from the vault right there. So definitely was not planning. When we thought of the live tonight, I was like, no, let's talk about that time our chicken coop got repossessed. Wasn't thinking that. Debbie Royal, we really need to write a book about this journey. It's so weird because I don't feel like we've arrived. But I will tell you this, that I should have offered them egg salad.
Some scrambled eggs. Maybe some chicken and
maybe
dumplings.
Some chickens.
You don't have a chicken coop? Well, I guess you do now.
Oh, Lord, help us. Oh my goodness. Y'all are punny. You really are so funny. The thing is that whenever you whenever you experience stuff like that, though, and you see what you hoped for just get explosive, like, you really become completely, like, it's permission to dream to a level that, like, that it's just not hindered. Like, the things I dream for now would have scared the crud out of me like 3 years ago. There's no way I would have been brave enough to dream the way that I do now. But literally now I'm like, well, what won't God do? Like, if he did all of this, I mean, I'm only 34. I got a lot of life left to live, and I'm not plateauing at 34. Like, this is not the peak for me. Like, there's still so much more that I'm believing to see in the earth. And I
hope one of our viewers didn't buy that used coop. Then they'd have a repossession story too, I'm sure.
Unless they were Dave Ramsey followers, and
they
pay
cash for it. They're like, oh, look, a repo. Get this at discount. Pay
it's got
cash.
some bullet holes around the bottom. Where are those from?
Shoot possums.
Lord. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I was sleepy, and that's gone now. So, but yeah, I mean, like, truly, it really does just make you. It makes you really, really brave to dream. Like, when God comes through. And here's what's really incredible. Like, I say these things to you guys, but I really mean this. Like, I dream for you too. Like, when you guys share your dreams with me, about desiring a small farm, desiring to have your spouse working from home with you, desiring to have, I mean, like when you say, I see what you have and I'm desiring for this. I want this. Sometimes people say, I want this so bad. Like I have cried in bookstores over homesteading books, tears dropping on the books and then being like, oh shoot, I don't need to let that happen. I can't afford to buy this book. Like I've literally been in that position in my life multiple times, yearning so badly for something that I could not have. And so when you guys share this with me, I genuinely partner my faith with yours and believe with you because I know that God can do it for you. Like we are there, like truly, he can. If he can bring us from watching our stinking chicken coop get repossessed out of our yard 3 years ago to this place, he can do it for you. He can move on your behalf. And if he's placed a desire in your heart, God doesn't place desires in our heart and then ask us to fulfill them on our own strength. That's just not how he works. Literally, this is a phrase I want you to put in your vocabulary. I believe you, so pay for it, please. Like that's literally like the thing that I learned to say is, okay, I believe you. Pay for it, please. Because he can do it. I mean, if that's what he wants to do, he can pick up the tab. He's got it. He has way more than I do. So like he can do it. And that's like, so like, and that's what he did. Like he did this. He did all of this. It's really great. So goodness. Well, I'm really glad, Lindsay, that raised your spirits. It definitely woke me up. Oh, our kids all did just come in the door, though. They were next door at our family's house. So
we better get out of here.
Yeah, we better wrap it up. So, Father God,
guys.
if you planted seeds in anyone's heart who is listening to this tonight, I just ask that you would water those seeds and bring them to harvest, God, that you would bring faith and abundance, that you would give dreams and visions to people, that you would take away all the fear that would keep people from dreaming, God, that you would bring resources and finance, that you would bring help and strong backs and strong arms to people with visions that don't feel like they have the capacity to bring them forth, Father. And for all of the people that you've placed a desire in their heart to grow food in the earth, God, that I just thank you right now that you're blowing your wind on the coals of that dream, God. And I just ask that you would set it ablaze and that you would put every bit of wind in the sails of all of these people who have this dream, God, that they would see fruition and that they would stand in just a short while from now, knowing that they are witnessing infinitely more than they could ask or think. So thank you, Father, in Jesus' name. Amen.
And God, just help everyone to hydrate their repo men.
But he'll be here all night. Good night, guys. We love you. We bless you. Until next time.